Good morning, everybody that is attending by Zoom. This is Mindy. I'm over here right now. I'm going to come out and start the presentation soon. If you all could just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. Thank you. Awesome. Yay. So I have somebody monitoring the chat today so that if there is an issue with the audio or something else, or if you have a question, type it into the chat and that person will give me a heads up so that we can address it, okay? All right, we'll get started here soon.
Yeah, it's really so in fact, I'm thinking it should go over. Well, it says we're going over. Now, that's what it started out. And that's the same guy that has Maria, Mexican place in that door too. Oh,
All right, if I missed saying it to anybody here in the room, the restrooms are on the right side of the front desk out here. There's water, there's coffee and tea in the little kitchen back here. Anybody else have anything that they need at this point? Okay, there were copies of the PowerPoint. I know the writing's tiny. You can make notes on it, and I will send a copy of the PowerPoint once we're done. So Terry, do you want to, for Zoom, you can, Greg, what are you seeing right now for Zoom?
The room.
You're seeing me,
You
the
have to
room.
share the screen.
Yeah. Do you want to help me do that? Because it's been a minute since I've done that. Thank you. Thank you to my coworkers, Terry Beck and Greg Pearson, my manager, for helping out today as well. And we're gonna have some other folks come in a little bit later.
Greg, can you see it?
Yes.
Oh, you got the Jordan? Got it. Did you get that?
Mhm.
That's what it was the first time. So. He said, hey. That's a featured article about. Working sites.
Screen share.
But that is it, yeah. There it is, so see it?
Can you see it?
Just came back again.
Awesome, okay. Yay. Okay,
So
thank
it's
you,
like
Sarah, you're the
that
best.
display has to be the PowerPoint tab, not.
Gotcha. Okay, all right, well, thank you. Okay, well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here today, all of our municipal coordinators and also our folks from our hauling companies in York County. It's so great to see you all. And yes, go ahead.
Go to the next slide. Oh, they can't see it.
They can't?
They can only see the
Oh.
presentation. It's stuck on the PowerPoint,
Okay,
so it's not going as you're moving, it's just
Okay.
going at the first one.
all right.
Zoom is new to all of us. So,
It's this room, every time we go to, when we try to do too many things, like share and Zoom meet and all, and we hear, like, all of it, like, there just gets this hiccup. I don't. Thank goodness for people like Terry that can figure it out for me, because I just stand here and cry.
Can you see introductions?
It just went to introductions.
Can you? Go
Right.
to the next one.
Did it go?
Yes.
Right. Okay, so, and thank you to all of you on Zoom today for attending as well. We're so glad to have you all. So to introduce myself, I'm Mindy Waldmeyer. I'm the recycling coordinator for the York County Solid Waste Authority. Hopefully I have met most of you before. We have a couple of new faces. Glenn may or may not be attending today from Good, so we'll welcome him if he comes later. We have Andrea McFadden with Penn Waste. We also have Erin today with Penn Waste as well. Erin, what's your last name?
Dell.
Dell. Erin Dell from Penn Waste. We have Andy Warrens from Republic Services. We have Terry Back. She is our technical program specialist at YCSWA, but she is also my tech guru when it comes to anything to do with Zoom or, you know, anything with the computer. My manager, Greg Pearson, back here in the Recycling and Planning Division, and Doug will come along later and we'll introduce him as well. So today we're going to talk about the annual recycling report, the DEP grants, recycling and waste hauling, municipal disaster debris management, the transfer station plans. We got a big project just starting here, and some resources for you all. So we have a lot to cover. But if you have a question at any point, please raise your hand on Zoom, you know, put it in the chat and we'll address your question as best we can. Okay, so for our annual municipal recycling report, anybody in the room, this is their first time doing that report? Yeah, don't worry, we got you. All right, so Act 101 is where a lot of the things that I communicate to you comes from. The PA Act 101, Municipal Waste Planning, Recycling and Reduction Act. It set recycling and waste reduction goals for the state many, many years ago, 1988, I believe. So it requires the DEP to maintain a database on recycling and waste reduction. And that is where you and I and the haulers will work together to get this report for your county to the DEP. Okay, so where should you be collecting the data? So we will provide you with some forms that the DEP and the Professional Recyclers of Pennsylvania, which I'm a part of, have put together for you. You can use these forms, they're great, but if you have your own style of doing things, you don't have to use the form. Just make sure that you look over the form really well to find out what you need, the information you need to get. It's mostly going to be who did the recycling, who did the hauling, how much, what type of material, where did it go? So all of those important questions have to be included on your form. And some folks just basically use the form and then put their logo or their information on it as well. But if you have any issues adapting the form or using the form, always get in touch with me. I can help you out. So this is teeny tiny. I realize you won't see any detail, but I will be sharing these forms with you after the meeting, probably within a few days. So the FM12 is the transporter or hauler recycling report form. Okay, and this is basically what it looks like. It's a 3-page document with some instructions and then a listing of materials and some basic information. So you want to send your FM12 to all the recycling haulers that service your businesses, not just the one that holds your residential contract. This is usually something that gets forgotten. So of course you're interacting with Penn Waste or Republic Services or Waste Management for your residential contract, but most of you allow your businesses to choose who they want to haul their materials. So you want to reach out to all the major haulers in your county. I have contact information for them. You don't have to scribble this down because I will share this as well. Is Megan still accurate? Okay, and Andy, Kathy's still accurate for you all?
Since 1990.
Since 1990. She does a great, they all do a great job. So, I will share these contacts with you, but you wanna make sure when you're starting off gathering your data, that you reach out to all of these companies, okay? And welcome in the back. Thank you. Don't feel bad. Glad you're here. FM11, this is a different form, okay? You're gonna send, it's different, but it's very similar in its layout to the other form. On this form, you're gonna send this out to your commercial, municipal, institutional entities, okay? So if you have any businesses or, you know, of course, schools and other types of government buildings, doctor's offices, you name it, churches, you're gonna send this form to them to gather information about what was recycled as well. So on this form, oh, sorry, this is here. You can also send to volunteer groups as well. Some of you may still have like scouts or rescue mission, you know, groups that are collecting recyclables as well. You want to note that on this form, early on, it asks, did you haul your own recyclable? And not a lot of businesses do, some do. If they did not, they are instructed to just put their hauler name on the form and return it to you. They don't have to fill out the rest of it. It's great if they do, but they do not have to fill out the rest of it. And there may be a couple of haulers listed there. They may use some for scrap metal and some for single stream or whatever. So if you get a form back from your businesses and it doesn't have a whole lot of data on it, that's because they're instructed to do that. You are welcome to change the form if you don't want that statement on there, if you want them to give you all the information. But really the purpose of this is to cross-reference what your haulers are telling you about what is being hauled. I mean, there's a lot of data to collect. It's not uncommon that, you know, one business may be missed, you know, on a list from a hauler. And you can catch that if you're, you know, sending these out to your businesses and they're returning that form.
Mandy, there are times where the haulers might do the trash pickup, like at a distribution center, but the distribution center back hauls their cardboard to a main
Yep.
place somewhere else in the thing. So it's not the hauler's responsibility to make sure they're recycling. Like, if they need us, we're there, but some of them do it on their own. So
Yeah.
in that case, they probably have to give you that
Yes.
for them. So-
Great point, absolutely, yeah, if they're not using a hauler or if they're using some system like Andy mentioned, which actually we're gonna get into a little bit later about the statewide data, so that would be a case where we would wanna get that information from the business. We wanna make sure that folks are reporting post-consumer materials only. So there's a lot of cases where recycling is going on within businesses for materials that never made it to the shelf, never made it to a consumer. They may have misrun a bunch of bottles, you know, and the plastic isn't right on them or the logo or whatever, and they're gonna recycle those materials. That's great, but it's not considered post-consumer material. So we only want to count that. If you have a question about that, or one of your businesses has a question about it, I'm happy to help interpret what that means, but any errors or scraps or that sort of thing, we don't want to count in this recycling report, okay? And we only want to count tonnages reported from recycling processors that were produced in their own offices. And there's a reason for this. So a processor, like a scrap metal processor, may be receiving materials from outside of your county. Or they may be receiving materials that are also being, you know, counted by the hauler or the business, that sort of thing, and it's hard to cross-reference. So we only want to count, so say you get a report from ABC company that they recycled this much ferrous metal, okay, and it went to DCE company. We will count what the company reported, or in some cases, the hauler reported, before we would count what the processor is claiming, okay? Because we don't want to double count materials. We also don't want to count a bunch of material that belongs to Lancaster or Adams County or somewhere else. Does that anybody have questions about that? Okay, so materials that they process, they can also declare them if they're tracking what's coming in. by the county or the zip code. It's kind of a different situation, but you can always make me aware if you think there's materials out there that could be counted and could be attributed to York County, but it's kind of hard to define the municipality that they came from or the business. Just contact me if you have a question about that, okay? The FM13. So this is, in our case in York County, I feel like this is rarely used. Maybe in other counties, they use this a little bit more. So this would be for materials that, say you had a shredding company, okay, that doesn't report per the municipality. They can only say, well, in 17406, we shredded 59 tons, whatever it may be. If you have a company like that can attribute the weight to either a county or per zip code, please let me know and we will send them the FM13. I really don't want you sending this out though without making me aware, because that's kind of a different area of the report that I handle things that are just, attributed to the county. So if you think that you have a case like that, just get in touch with me and we'll figure it out. Okay. And this is what I just said, is only for businesses or brokers that can attribute the material per zip code or county. Okay, so new this year, we have something new on the forms. The Professional Recyclers of Pennsylvania group, has a data management committee that works with the DEP on what data is going to be tracked in the state. So we have decided this year that we're going to break down some of the categories that you're used to seeing a little bit further. Now, you may or may not have weights in these categories. Some of you may only ever get to report single stream. It really depends. But because we're tracking a lot more of what we would consider household hazardous waste or commercial hazardous waste, we're offering some different categories that we'd like to capture data for if you're able to report it. So here's a list of those. It's going to include tanks and cylinders, like propane tanks and oxygen tanks, different heavy tanks, all kinds of batteries. Batteries are such a hot topic, especially the rechargeables. We're kind of trying to track, what's coming in rechargeable batteries and being recycled. Printer cartridges.
Not through the haulers, by the way.
Yeah, what's that?
Not through the haulers.
No, the haulers don't want,
Making sure
they don't want those batteries anywhere near them. But in some cases, you'll have businesses that are collecting those batteries, such as like batteries plus bulbs or
Home Depot, Lowe's.
Home Depot, Lowe's.
All bins right in the front when you walk in for those lithiums.
Got it. Absolutely. Thank you, Andy. Carpet padding. We're breaking up organics a little bit more because we want to track organics as well. So instead of just separated food, there will be a place for donated food. So those of you that might get like a giant food stores report, you will see sections where they donated food as opposed to recycled in other ways. So donated would be separate, and then meat renderings and grease trap material, and also food grade cooking oil. Okay, so these are the changes to the reports. You will see them also on your grant reports as well. A conversion chart. So your data must be submitted to me in tons, and it would be a good idea for you to ask that your businesses and haulers reported to you in tons as well. But if they don't, you can also convert the material. Sometimes, especially with organics, you might get, Lisa's giggling. She's like, Lisa hates this part. It's all good. Just contact me if you want a little help with conversion. You'll probably, especially with yard waste, you'll get things that are reported in cubic yards instead of tons. So that can all be converted, and we have a chart for it, but I'm just a phone call or an email away. There were some important dates to remember for this report. The commercial and transporter recycling forms are due to you by February 1st. This is the date that is printed on them. If you want to change that date to be earlier, that's fine, but I wouldn't make it any later because you're going to need to report to me as well. So I would plan to start sending these forms to your businesses, organizations, and haulers in December. Shortly after this meeting, you're going to get copies through email of all the updated forms. So I would like you to start reaching out then to your businesses so that they are on the ball first thing in the beginning of next year to start reporting to you. Now statewide recycling data, I'll explain what that is. So, again, prop, I keep repeating that, but they are such a huge part of what I do. They're a professional organization that's open to all county people that deal with recycling, municipal people that deal with recycling, businesses as well. Prop is huge in my job. So as a county recycling coordinator, Prop provides to me some of the data for like really big stores, such as giant food stores, such as Walmart, Dollar General. These stores have so many individual locations throughout the state that they would end up sending just hundreds of reports back to municipal folks like you. So in order to help them and to help us, we have gotten some relationships with them and gotten them to agree to submit the data one report at a time. Yeah, she's like, that's a great thing, right? Yeah. So that you can see all of the data, you know, for your municipality in one report, you know, for like if you have 5 giant food stores, I mean, some of you may, you're gonna see all those locations, boom, 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 and all the different materials that they have recycled. Please do not reach out to those stores that are on this list. And I will be sending this list to you pretty early on, at least I would say by December. So if you see that, you know, you have a Giant or Dollar General or whatever, don't send them your individual request for data because you will be getting it from me. It may not come, you know, by January 15th, because sometimes it takes a while to put all the information together, but you will get that data, okay? Yes. Oh, do not submit your annual report to me until you have received all of your statewide data. In the next couple of slides, I'm going to talk about your due date to me. But please know that if you have one of these large stores and you submit to me before you get that information, your report is going to change and then you're going to have to resubmit to me. So I will reassure you, and if you want to check in with me by email to make sure you're still okay, by all means do, but you do not have to submit your report to me until you have all of your statewide data. So this is just a screenshot of what the report form to me looks like. So after you get all of these FM11s and 12s and all the different information back from all of your businesses and haulers, first of all, you're going to cross-reference to make sure that what folks are saying is being hauled by a hauler. They also say they hauled. And if there's discrepancies and you need help, reach out to me because I can help to facilitate those conversations, or you can just reach out to your hauler too. I mean, they're very friendly people and they'll help you out. But you're going to compile all of that data, usually using a big old spreadsheet, right, Lisa? I've seen your spreadsheet. It's great. All of you have different ways of doing it. I've seen Abby's as well. And if you need help creating a spreadsheet, I mean, sure, Casey's probably giving something to you, but if you need help, we can help you with that as well. Compile that data and then you're going to send it to me. You're going to send a little bit of information about your municipality, how you have things hauled, or if you do yard waste or different questions. And then you're going to fill in for each different category your grand total of residential curbside, residential drop off, curbside, curbside commercial, and commercial drop off as well. Okay, so in the information that you put on the form to me in those questions, some of the most common errors that I see are actually in reference to recycling ordinance. If you're a mandated municipality, I'm sure you have a recycling ordinance. Sometimes in a non-mandated municipality, you have an ordinance that describes how recycling will happen, but it does not say you must recycle and that is the law in our municipality. What I am trying to find out is if you have it mandated in your ordinance. So that's what that question means. Do you have a curbside or drop off recycling program? What types of material do you accept in those programs? I do ask about your contracts as well and try to help everybody through the bidding and the contract process as best I can. So I will ask, what's your contract? What, do you have extensions and what are those? And do you have a yard waste program? Some of the questions. I just talked about that. Another common, confusing question is about the pay as you throw. This is not very common anymore. But the DEP still would like the information about who's doing a pay as you throw program. So that doesn't mean limiting the quantity by like your total service. So if you have offer people 35-gallon volume as opposed to 96, to me that makes sense, but what it means is that you are having prepaid bags that people purchase, and that is their service for garbage, this pay as you throw. So if you have questions about whether or not you have that or what that means, just reach out to me. As I said, you're gonna compile the data from all your sources, add the tonnage total to the report. So your report, if you have all of your statewide data, is due to me by February 15th. Or if you have statewide data that is not received by a week before, like February 8th, I give you extra time, okay? And if you didn't receive statewide data and it's March 1st, that's still okay. I mean, if you feel like you missed a report, please get in touch with me and I will certainly answer you as, whether or not you're still expecting any reports. But I don't want you to have to keep like resubmitting to me because you still have data coming in.
Mindy,
Yes.
I would question or comment on that previous slide.
Yeah.
About the pay as you, not that one, pay as you.
This one, yes,
That was a lot of slides in there.
that's right.
I don't think this necessarily refers to the low volume
Yeah.
options. This is like Penn Township,
Yes,
where
That's what I
there
was
is no,
trying to
there is
say.
no bag limit or cart. It's just, they have to go to Rudders or Giant Rubber and buy bags that say Penn Township.
right.
That's the pay as you throw.
Yeah.
So,
And
because there are
give
some
them
municipalities here
their-
that still have the low volume where you buy 18 bags a year or something, that's a little different. 'Cause
Yes.
Those people are getting recycling as part of that service too. So.
Thank you very much. Greg, do we have any questions? Is everybody doing okay on the Zoom? Okay.
No one has asked any.
Okay, good, okay. Okay, additional documentation. So sometimes I have to be nosy and I really apologize, but it's usually just in the effort to try to be helpful. If I don't understand, some of your data, maybe it dropped a lot or it increased a lot. And I'm just trying to get ahead of the DEP asking me questions like, why did so-and-so municipality drop off or increase so much? I may ask for some of your documentation. You don't have to send it to me with your report, but if I ask, hey, can I see your hauler report from so-and-so hauling company because this just doesn't jive with what I, have seen, just please send it to me. I'm just here to try to get everybody, the most accurate data possible. Okay, and don't hesitate to ask for help. That's what I'm here for. And I can, sometimes if I can't answer a question about how you do things in a municipality, I'll be able to hook you up with somebody else from a municipality that will share their experience. Okay, any other questions? Yeah,
I have a question. On the additional materials, will that list also be provided for the statewide collectors? Like, Andy mentioned about the lithium batteries.
Yeah.
Is that something that we're going to ask them to provide on that list too, or?
Yes, we will ask them to provide it. It may take a little bit of time for them to catch up. I would say that we usually have a corporate contact with those companies, but sometimes it changes. And because we're just one small, person that's, was in communication with them maybe once a year, it takes us a while to find the new person or to communicate things. So I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't get this data from statewide companies right away, but we will certainly request it.
On the hauler end of things, when we're getting the recycling reports ready for you, when it's the residential portion, that's very easy. Because those trucks are only picking up your municipality, they're getting weight. The commercial end of things, they might be running some in Springersbury Township, which then bleeds into York Township on their route. And so for Kathy, who's doing these reports or whoever works for the haulers, like you have a manual spreadsheet, it's a manual process for us too. So when Kathy takes till the end of January to get it, it's not because she's like proving a point, it's because it takes a long time to get all these done for all the municipalities.
I'm
So
sure, yes, yeah, I get it, yeah. Okay. All right, so let's talk a little bit about grants. We don't have a particular DEP regional rep for the South Central region that we are included in. Ours was promoted to a different, yeah, she's great, we still get to interact with her, but so I'm just gonna do the presentation today. But rest assured, if you do have a question, I usually have a DEP rep here. If you ever have a question about a grant or something to do with the DEP and you need me to provide you with a contact or put you in touch with somebody, please let me know. I can always do that. So the 904 performance grant, recycling performance grant, there's a little bit of a overlap, I guess, in the way that we do things, okay? So right now we're talking about, before this, we were talking about the recycling report for data for recycling happening in 2024. We're gonna start reporting that right away in 2025. The 904 performance grant, they give you a whole year to report all of this data. So the 2023 data, not data, but report, grant application still is not due, even though we're in November of 2024. So I know that's a little bit confusing, but they are two separate processes. So the 904 grant is open right now for calendar year 2023. If you haven't submitted yours, you have probably heard me knocking in your email saying, are you gonna do your report? Are you gonna do your report? So I'm here to help you. I really want everybody to take advantage of this grant because even though it's not mandatory, it's highly recommended. In the world of grants, it's a pretty easy application. I'm happy to assist you, right, Lisa, and the other folks that come out to visit. I'm always happy to get out of the office and come see you, help you with your grant, walk you through it. It is based on your annual report. They're two separate processes, but all that work you do for the annual report, you should be just about ready to do your grant when you're done with it. You may have a little bit of straggling information coming in, but they release the application usually in May, around May. So for the 2024 data, it won't become available till May of 2025 for your grant application. And then they give you till the end of the year to do it, which seems like, oh, this is great. But the longer you go into the year, the further you are away from your annual report and all that work you did. And you may end up, not being as clear about things when you go to do your recycling grant. So I highly recommend that as soon as you can, you get it done. If you're still working on it, that's okay. Just know that I may not be available. Greg, I don't think I've even told you this yet, but I may not be available from late December on. Sometimes I take off between Christmas and the New Year, right? So if you need help with your grant and I am home, playing with my grandkids, I may not answer you. I'm really sorry. I'll do my best, but please, just reach out to me if you're having any issues with the grant application. Okay. So the 902 Recycling Program Development and Implementation Grant is not currently open. So some of you, trying to think, may have applied. Anybody applied in the last round? You did. York Township just got their award. So the 902 grant becomes available about once a year. We never know when it's going to be available until usually a couple weeks before. The DEP will say, ding, 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 we have enough money in the recycling fund and we're going to open another round of the 902. This is not an award for the amount of recycling that you did. I should have said that more so with the 904. The 904 is about your performance as a municipality. So you're getting free money that you can do anything with for the amount of recycling you did in the previous year. The 902 is completely different. This is about developing a recycling program or implementing your program, okay? So it is not currently open. It is a reimbursement grant for up to 90% of expenses that you had for eligible different aspects of your recycling program. Some examples are developing recycling education, your ordinances, developing recycling mandated ordinances, recycling collection and transportation equipment, composting equipment. These are just examples. There's a pretty long list of things that you can use this grant for. It comes in very, very helpful or handy for those that are, have yard waste programs especially, or just are looking at different aspects of their program. So you will hear from me as soon as possible when this becomes available. You usually have about an 8-week window or a 12-week window. I don't know, somewhere about 2 to 3 months to complete your application. It does require a meeting with the DEP, which I host here at the authority. Don't be afraid, they're very nice people, they don't bite. The pre-application meeting is really just to help you put your best foot forward when you're doing the grant. Because it's a rather long and involved grant, and they want to help you through the process. The last round was open from February through May of this year. We had $920,000 that was awarded to 9 York County municipalities. So, yeah, I'm really glad that York County consistently takes advantage of this grant, and I would like to see others do it as well. If you are awarded in one round of it, you cannot apply in the next round. You have to take one round off, and then you can apply in the following round, okay?
What did York Township win for?
We did it for our yard waste collection.
Yeah.
And we did very well, so.
Yeah, I think
Very
you
good.
maxed out the grant.
Yeah.
There's a different amount, it depends on how much is in the recycling fund. So there's a different amount available to each municipality each year, but I think you did. I know Hanover has done some of the past, this Hanover Borough folks, Dover, we were just talking about Dover, maybe doing it in the future, West Man. So yeah, it's pretty common, and also your city, yeah. We also had the food recovery infrastructure grant. This is fairly new. This will only be the 3rd round of this grant ever. It came about during the pandemic. And it is all about getting the equipment into the hands of the nonprofits who make food available to those who need it. It's a wonderful grant. And our DEP regional coordinator was promoted to be in charge of this grant and organics in general. And she does an amazing job with it. So the applications are now available. This is not a grant that you all are going to be putting together, most likely. This is a grant that you would be sharing with all of your nonprofits. It could be, food banks, could be churches that are developing, or schools that have food programs. So it's going to be those types of entities. The grants and this round are for up to $50,000. It does not require match. When I talked about the 902 grant, I said it's 90%, reimbursement up to 90%. So you are required to put in like 10% there. This grant for our nonprofits does not require any match. It does require a pre-application meeting as well. Those a lot of times are done just virtually, but I can help facilitate. I can put folks in touch with the DEP for any questions on this. Are you aware of entities that have taken advantage of this in your community? I know that York County Food Bank has each round, and they're in all sorts of pockets of our community. So anyway, okay. All right, so this is just a grant and report timeline. I'm going to provide this to you as well, just sort of show you how everything rolls out throughout the year. Okay, so in November, we have our meeting, which we're having today, and then I will distribute to you the new forms that you're going to send to your municipalities, also the form that would eventually come back to me. In December, you're going to send those forms out to your businesses and to your haulers. By December 31st, the grant from the previous year is going to be due the recycling performance grant application. So you're kind of working for a short period of time on 2 different calendar years, okay? January through February, you're gonna gather your annual recycling data. January through March, you're gonna hear from me if you have any of those big box stores that you get statewide data from. And February 15th, if you've received all your statewide data, your report is due back to me. February through March, once you receive all of your statewide data, I give you like another week before I like knock on your door and say, hey, this is important for me. And then you wanna send it back to me. And then May-ish is when you will receive the application opening for the recycling done in the previous year for your 904 grant. If you're really excited about your report and you wanna do your grant in March, I would ask you to please hold off. Because sometimes the DEP does make changes to that application, and I don't want you to do all that work for nothing. I've had that happen before, where folks just say, okay, I want that off my plate and now I'm gonna do the grant. And if you don't use the right forms, you may have to do it all over again. So just wait until you hear from me on the 904 grant. All right. So any other questions for me about grants, reports, anything else?
Yes, I just have a comment to make. So I was new to the municipality in general. So I never had any experience with trash or the recycling, the grants, any of that. And I don't know that you get the recognition that you deserve with all of the help that you have provided me in general. So I can only imagine that I'm not the only person that's asking for this. But I just thank you for always being so positive. You are always available for the most part, and I could not express, enough gratitude to have someone like you to work with to help us through that process. So I would just like to say thank you.
Lisa, thank you so much. That means a lot to me. I really enjoy working with all of you. And not only does it get me out of the office, but I get to hear about your experiences as well. And I just thank you so much. I really appreciate you saying that. I'm here for y'all. So just reach out anytime. Okay. All right. So we're gonna move into a new section here with our hauler folks. I'm just gonna do a brief rundown of some of the recommendations that we have as the authority, talking to the haulers and hearing from the haulers, what they may recommend for your bid process, contracting, and your service options in waste and recycling. They may not be spot on for each company. And I totally would appreciate you all speaking up, and if I say, oh, well, this is what they like, and Andrea goes, no, we don't, sorry, that's okay, that is okay. I tried to get as much consensus as I could, okay? So we're just gonna go through this guide. This is on the website, and I'll show you where in a little bit, but I will provide this to, I usually, if I know that your contract is expiring, I start sending this to you like well in advance, like 7-8 months in advance, okay? So some of the things that we have heard that are very important to our hauling companies and important to you if you want to get a lot of companies bidding and get good bid results is to start your bidding process early. This is super important. I've heard from some hauling companies even a year in advance to at least be reaching out, maybe having pre-bid meetings or, offering, just getting a feel for what's going on, contacting me to look at bid specs. If you would like, I can always do that. But you also want to put out your bid package 6 months-ish.
I mean, at least,
Yeah.
and here's the reason, since COVID, it's really hard to get trucks, and if we're bidding on a municipality that we don't currently service, and we have to buy trucks, we're looking at 12 to 18 months for those trucks to come in from the time we order them. If you put your bid out 2 months before it expires, we may bid, but we're also gonna put rental in our pricing, so we have to rent trucks till the new trucks come in, so that's why. Pre-COVID, we can order trucks and get them in 2 months without a problem. But that's just not the case. You all probably feel that as you order fire trucks and plow trucks and everything else. because you're all up against the same thing we are. And that's why we've been asking for more time than we had traditionally asked for in the past.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. So give folks plenty of time. We also want to make sure that the bid packet forms and language are up to date. So I have to come clean here. I made maybe not a promise, but I put forth an effort, last year, at the end of Andy probably knows what I'm gonna say, at the end of this meeting to, get model bid specs out to all of you. It is a very involved process. I have been working on it. Greg started grinning back there. We're working on it, right, Greg?
We are.
We're working on it. So Lancaster County has this model bid spec they send out to the municipalities. And basically, I mean, it's so helpful to the haulers to at least have things in the same order in the bid, right? To know what's coming on the next page, like what's gonna be addressed. You all have things written differently because you all have different solicitors and you all have different history of what, you know, you've been looking for in your bids. So our goal is to get you a document, a template that you can use that hopefully will work for hauling companies as well. And I'm gonna make a statement again that I hope I have it by next year. But as soon as I get that put together, I will be sending that out to you. But in the meantime, if you have any questions about your bid specs, Greg and I have a lot of experience with it. And we can help make recommendations for you. And there are certain the agreement disclosure, I'm looking for the word.
Non-collusion affidavit,
What is it
the
again?
non-collusion affidavit.
Non-collusion affidavit, couldn't think of it, that absolutely has to be updated in order for these folks to bid. I mean, that could be a deal breaker just because you don't have one form updated. So these are things that hopefully your solicitor is aware of as well. But, you know, consult us if you are having any issues. All right, so I packed a couple of things onto a slide here. So we wanna request contract term length of at least 3 years. I'm hearing 3 to 5 years, in some cases at least.
We've certainly been
Yep. Go ahead.
encouraging municipalities to go to 5-year contracts. Again, the truck thing is a big issue. Pre-COVID, we were paying $275,000 for a new trash truck. Now we're paying about $430,000. So
Yeah.
when you look at the price almost doubling and you're going, oh, we have a 3-year contract to depreciate that, it just jacks prices. So that's why I've been out in the marketplace encouraging longer terms, 5 years with 2 1-year extensions.
Do you think so? Andrew's kind of nodding. You
I-
think
I
so as
agree.
well? Yeah, it's more appealing. It's, you know, if you're willing to commit to a longer term, it's gonna be a more appealing contract to bid on.
Well, and because your bullet point 2 is pretty standard now in our county. It used to be that it was a firm price for the whole contract. So we didn't want 5 years of that because by the end of that 5 years, you're upside down because the expenses. So
Yeah.
when we can name our pricing tier,
Yeah.
we're good having a 5-year contract. We know we're protected with some of that, but it definitely allows us to depreciate the expense of the equipment over a longer time, which helps us not have to bid such a high price.
Yeah, so bullet points 1 and 2 go together.
Yeah.
Very important together. Okay. Excellent.
5-year contract, you still get the option to renew for an extra year and another year.
You can, yes,
So you can have 7 years.
Yes,
absolutely.
it'd be a bilateral agreement between the hauler and, you know, if you want to extend, you know, take advantage of that 1-year extension or you want to put it out for bid.
Yeah, the solicitor had to look into the legal stuff in Pennsylvania, but I think it's maximum initial term of 5 years, can't be more than that. And then there can be maybe up to 3 1-year,
I think it might be 2.
maybe 2.
It's, I think it's an Act 101, 2
Yeah,
2 years,
Okay,
I believe.
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, very good. We're gonna look at setting moderate requirements for bonds and insurance. So I've started to review some of the bid specs for your county, and right off the bat, I've only done like 5 or 6, and boy, there's a really big gap in, you know, some insurance requirements for one municipality, or the bond might be twice as much in this county or that county. There may be reasons for that, but you wanna make sure that you're not setting a requirement that's going to exclude some of your haulers from bidding. You know, I don't know that any of the folks at this table may have problems with that, but if we have other companies that are interested in bidding, you know, they may have different, you know, issues with the bond amount or insurance amount. So, having those pre-bid meetings would be helpful, right, for that as well, I believe.
But you
Yes.
going to a standardized would help it completely.
Yes.
So.
Agreed. Again, getting back to this wild bid specs. I know, Andy, I'm sorry.
It's hard. We're York County. We hate change, so.
Yeah. And we love our, you know, ability to make a decision. So even if I put out a template there, it's not gonna change everything, but, you know, I think.
Yeah, you would be shocked. We have some municipalities, like Dover's is out right now. It's not that big, maybe 25 pages. Then we have some York cities is a three ring binder.
You put this spec binder out.
Right, right. Or you can have a small municipality of 180 homes, still has an 80-page
Yeah.
bid package, so.
Yes.
And as a hauler, when you're trying to scrub every line on that bid package to make sure you don't miss that one sentence. And my lesson came in Monaghan my first year in this role. I missed the line that said you have to write that you comply with American Disability Act or comply, you're in compliance. I forgot to write that sentence in. And we were the low bidder. Their previous boss got that bid thrown out because I didn't write that one sentence. So that's why we get the standard. We're not missing that one little thing that could make us get our bid rejected, even though we're the low bidder.
Absolutely. I was gonna put like slides in here to show you, but I forgot. So as I started this spreadsheet to sort of document what each municipality in York County requires. I've only gotten through like 5 or 6 of them. I was the one like, you know how it goes after you go A, B, C, then it goes, you know, da, da, da. I was at like G, A, you know what I mean? Like it was like, that's how many, it was like already like over 100 or, you know, 150 different things that I had noted in these bid specs. They're so different. And, you know, there weren't a whole lot of repeats in there. So yeah, we're really,
And it's kind of standard that, you know, the bids go out every 3 to 5 years. The solicitor hasn't looked at those specs since 5 years ago.
yeah,
It's easy to pull it out, change some dates, here we go.
yeah.
But, you
Yeah.
know, there's stuff that's changed in the last 5 years that can
Oh.
impact that, so.
I would venture a guess that more has changed in the last 5 years than it has in probably the last 15. So, you know, this is the time, if any, to look at your bid specs. Yeah. So allowing haulers to pass along unexpected costs. Can you all address that? You want to,
Disposal, like,
yeah.
disposal increase in, like labor and things like that, could be unexpected.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah.
So like tipping fees for New
Yes.
York County Solid Waste
Correct.
Authority. Which is just a little hard on your bill.
Received letters already about that, but yeah.
Some of that challenges come because in 2017, when China's sword happened.
Yeah.
Overnight, we went from getting paid a couple dollars per ton every time we dropped off a recycling center to paying over $100 a ton. But the municipal bid laws in Pennsylvania didn't allow us to come to municipalities and say, we need to get a price increase because what we're paying for recycling just went through the roof. So those type of language where if something beyond normal circumstances occur, that we can get some sort of relief is kind of what that refers to.
Yeah,
So,
great.
I mean,
And then-
the disposal increase is a big one, but not as big as it used to be because it used to be that maybe every 5 or 6 years, the authority would do a price increase, but now it's kind of become an annual thing. So we're able to prepare for that more. I'm just being honest. It's
No, it's
like
right.
it's like
It's true.
before it was a humongous deal when that thing came through, like, oh my goodness, we haven't had a price increase in 5 years, but now.
20%,
Right, right. So now it's kind of a smaller increase each year. It's kind of a little more built into the cost than previous.
Yeah. And fuel as well. Is fuel one that's common for passing along unexpected costs or no?
Not in this county. no.
Okay.
It's definitely part of the Lancaster County
Okay,
annual review of price, fuels in there.
okay, okay. Something that could be considered. Limiting your residential service options. Why is that important, guys?
So.
She was in customer service, so I'm
Yeah.
sure.
She really does.
So you have a municipality that offers, 1 bag service, 2 bag service. Is this a lot of different options for a resident to have? And then when they, family grows and they wanna change service within the year, so then you have, customers wanting to change 3 or 4 times a year in different services. And it's then the drivers, no, they increase to 3 times a week where, they only picking up 1 bag and then tagging one that's over the limit. So we try to minimize the amount of service levels that there is for options. So that we're not bidding on a whole bunch of different levels of service. So, again, if you have a municipality that we can cart, definitely wanna go automated with those. But then you have those small boroughs that we just can't, so, just think of like a small family, they do 2 options, where you have one for maybe an older couple and maybe one for like a family of 4 or a big family. So just maybe 2 service options.
Yeah, and those,
Yeah.
those multiple service offerings, disposal is a tiny piece of that. Like when we do low volume service in East Manchester, people only buy 18 bags a year. We literally drive to their house every week, just in case they put out a bag. So there's expenses built into that. So when we bid these low volume prices, they're not necessarily that cheap because we're still building in the fact that we're going every week just to check. Oh, and by the way, they get recycling as part of that and a bulk item. So there's expense built in that low volume isn't what it used to be. So that's why we're now saying, somebody needs a low volume, let's offer a 35 gallon cart that they can put out whenever they want, but weekly for sure. And then that prevents employees from having to lift the bags, which I'm sure we'll get to at some point.
Yes.
Why we're pushing for carts, because the amount of injuries, you would be shocked by some of the stuff that.
Absolutely, it's coming up. Okay, so allowing the hauler to determine servicing routes and schedules. This one may not be as huge, but do you have any comments on that? Like going into a municipality where you never hauled before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll butt right in here.
Okay, go.
We have municipalities that say, we've always been on Wednesday. I'm not picking on you. You are on Wednesday, you've always been on Wednesday. And so 2 contract cycles ago, we no bid East Manchester because we didn't have capacity on Wednesday to put 4 trucks in or 6 trucks. The last time we had lost contract, we did have capacity, we were able to bid on it. But when you say it has to be on a specific day, you're really limiting the bids. 5-day-a-week contracts, not a big deal. It's 5 days a week. But it's the smaller municipalities that are a 1-day-a-week or a 2-day-a-week contract. When you say we have to be on this day, it kind of limits you to, you're definitely getting a bid from your current hauler, but other haulers might not have capacity. They maybe have capacity to do it on Thursday, but if you say it has to be on Wednesday, you're kind of limiting yourself. So it goes back to the York County mentality. We don't like change. My trash has been on Wednesday my whole life. I'm ticked off when they come to a council meeting and the council goes, never mind, it's gonna stay on Wednesday. And then you get a high bid. So it's just getting people to understand change is okay. Like it's just part of life. And in this industry, especially with the cost of doing this business, if you start limiting specific little things like that, it just blows up pricing and now your residents end up paying more.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Anything to add?
No,
Andrea? Yeah.
I second that.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you're asking them to choose between waiting 2 days to put the trash out, as opposed to getting a bill that's, who knows, 30% higher or whatever it may be. All right, so here's some more things crammed into one slide. Request only 1 recycling and waste collection per week. So we still have some folks hanging on, doing the 2 a week. It obviously is gonna require a lot more resources and work for your hauler. So in those cases, you're probably gonna end up paying more, your residents are gonna pay more.
Can I comment on that?
Yeah,
I'm gonna comment a
absolutely.
lot. I have this problem. I like to talk.
The hauler show right now.
So the twice a week service is, we've always had it. And we get that. But when you drive around on the second day, there's way less trash out. It also might mean, well, we have 6 bags, twice a week you can put 6 bags out. Well, on Monday, the resident might put 4 out, and on Thursday, sometimes they put 1 or 2. So there's always less. So it's the reality of, you can get away with it once a week because there's municipalities and cities all around the state that have that once a week service. So the problem with twice a week too is that it's very unbalanced for the haulers. So in York City, for example, we have 30 employees on Monday and Tuesday in that city. We have 0 on Wednesday and we have 12 on Thursday and Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start to look at that unbalance, it gets really hard to maintain that, or that's why price points can oftentimes get high, because they're buying more trucks to run on Monday and Tuesday than they're gonna use on Thursday and Friday, so.
Agreed. Okay, here we are, Andy. Utilizing waste carting tows to allow for automated collection options. We haven't heard from Andrea. We'll let Andrea have
Yeah,
the first
so with-
talk
with-
on that, yeah.
More price point, I'll talk about this a little bit, it kind of saves money because then your, your bid is not including a truck and a helper, like a driver and a helper, going the automated way, and then for me, in municipalities is a lot cleaner, right? You have your recycle and you have your trash carts, and to me, it looks a lot nicer, in municipalities to have cart options.
Yeah, and to add on to the carts, it's obviously the cost saving, you could say, of helpers, but really it's the safety of those helpers. Having people hang on the back of the truck is dangerous. Last November in Texas, one of our helpers on the back of the truck, a distracted driver came up, slammed in, killed them instantly. So when those things happen, it makes us go, what are we doing? Do we still need to be doing that? Or you have, I'm gonna pick on you, but in this township, we have carts for the majority of residents, but there's still those low volume residents. So this past summer, we had our driver in there picking up carts. He gets to the house, it's a low volume, picks it up to throw it in, tears his rotator cuff, picking up that one loose bag. So if we had a 35-gallon cart there, he wouldn't have done that. We've had an employee in York City this year who was picking up bags, and somebody loaded a trash bag full of about 250 pounds of soil. But as you're picking up 6 bags, you're grabbing, he picked it, ripped the bicep off the muscle, tore his labrum. He was out for 2 months on that. We've had employees pick up bags. They go to take them to the truck, it hits their calf, there's a broken glass in there, slices their calf open. These are the types of things. You pick up a bag, the needle goes right through the bag that somebody threw in their bag, through your glove. Now you gotta go through the hepatitis vaccines, you gotta go to HIV vaccine or tests. Like, these are the reasons. It's not all just about, hazing us or whatever. It's about keeping people safe. And it's also really hard to find people that want to do that job. Because when you're hanging on the back of the truck and you have to get out and pick up 8 to 12 tons of bags by hand. Like, if I told you to go to Planet Fitness every day this week and you can't get home till you do curls worth 12 tons of weight, you kind of laugh at me. But that's what we're asking helpers to do while it's 95 degrees with 100% humidity, or 37 degrees in December and raining. And by the way, you keep jumping off of that truck.
Or snow and ice.
Yeah,
Right.
so
Yeah,
that's why we're, as an industry, and it's not just a York County, this is nationwide. And you'll see things in the news. New York City is adding carts for their service. It doesn't mean they're gonna automate, but it means their people aren't picking up loose bags.
Yeah.
They wheel the cart to the truck, hook it up, pull a lever and dump it, and you're gonna prevent those injuries. City of Buffalo just did the same thing. So it's not just townships, it's cities as well.
yeah. Thank you for offering all that information. I do. Yeah, I still see some folks on the back of trucks and it's, yeah.
How about carts for recycling? Same thing?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great thing to bring up, because when you have a municipality that currently uses a 14-gallon bin or a little 20-gallon barrel, and you switch to a 65-gallon cart, you're gonna see your recycling tonnage go up. Because unless you're an environmentalist, when your bin gets full, you're not gonna hold that recycling till next week. You're gonna start burning your trash.
Yeah,
So if you have a 65-gallon cart, and you think about how much people order from Amazon and Chewy and HelloFresh, there's a lot of cardboard. You can put a lot of cardboard in a 65-gallon cart, as opposed to, well, I ran out of space in my little bin, I'll just throw it in my trash can. It starts to hopefully offset your trash volume with recycling, which will really help with the Aqua and 1 grants.
absolutely. So how much of an issue do your drivers have though with the automated carts, like folks putting them smack up against each other? My family does it, it drives me nuts. I'm like, do you not see the garbage truck, what they have to do now, like 3 feet apart, it says right on the lid, right? So.
We certainly have issues, and there are people that will constantly put them backwards, no matter how many times we flip it. But
Oh,
in those cases where you have to get out of the truck to move it so you can dump it, you're on the side of the truck, it's way more safe than being on the back of the truck.
sure, absolutely.
You might have different ideas, but I don't hear drivers come back every day going, oh my gosh, these carts are so hard to access. The majority of them go, wow, my life is so much better now that I don't have to worry about picking up loose bags.
Yeah, Lisa.
I used to get a lot of complaints, but this latest contract that we did away with the 3-bag service.
Yeah.
And now we do a 96, 64, and a 35.
Yeah.
And, most of the complaints were from our elderly that, because they just didn't want to change, they don't have a lot. But, the volume of complaints that I get now, have really decreased. I think that the elderly appreciate the 35-gallon cart. It's easy to maneuver because it's on wheels and for them to take it, back and forth. So for us, I'm gonna tell you that I absolutely believe that it was, a good service for them.
Excellent.
And the
Great to
carts
hear.
that the haulers provide are designed to be dumped on trash trucks, whether it's a claw or a cart tipper on the back, it kind of sends up. The ones you buy at Home Depot and Lowe's, thinner plastic,
Yes.
those things will break. So that's why if the haulers are providing, we're maintaining. If somebody's cart gets stolen or run over by a tractor, we're just gonna replace it because it's to benefit our employees.
And another thing we did, because we did away with the 3-bags trash service, was, we put the carts in all 3 sizes in our lobby.
Smart.
So the residents were able to come in, they were able to check them out, they could see what, benefited them the most. And, it was great because at the end, after the contract got started, somebody would be like, I didn't get my toter yet. And I was like, there's one right there. You can actually just take it with you. And that's how I got rid of all 3 toters. So,
Excellent.
I mean, it was just nice because they all got to see, what was the best fit for their family.
Good.
So for
Good idea.
municipalities that are currently not on the cart service and you'll get a little bit of like the complaints early on before the contract starts, but then once it starts and they're, maybe a month into it, they're like, oh, I was complaining for nothing, this is easy. So they get used to it and then, again, like you said, start to appreciate it.
Yeah.
But again, it's just like Andy said, it's change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a question.
Yes.
Just because we're inner city and we have a lot of houses who are now converted to apartments. So you have like I've had one recently, we just found out there's 4 apartments. I said, how?
Right.
So
Take space.
Yeah.
parking, toters, 4 different apartments, 1 house.
Yeah, that's the challenge in the city like York, right? It's not gonna work for the whole city, but there are certainly parts of that city
Fire side.
where you can put
Fire side,
carts.
sure.
And maybe we can eliminate 30% of the routes can become automated. And then we can deal with, okay, we're still gonna have some helpers, but not as many as we currently.
You can have a
Yeah.
block that's
Yeah.
all apartments.
Right.
Yeah. So haulers are okay with bidding like partial automated as opposed to complete, like one all or nothing?
Right.
That's good. Yeah, good.
It's good to know, good to know.
Excellent.
Thank you.
There's a question on Zoom that I should not answer. Is there an additional charge to the residents to switch to the carting totes if not offered currently?
Okay, so the question is there an additional cost to the residents to add carting totes if it's not offered currently? Okay, so haulers, go ahead.
So, but if we're in a current contract and let's say they have a 3-bag service, we do have an option to rent a cart. Like ours right now is $18 a quarter. This is based on the contract. If it's not written in the contract, we do offer residents to rent carts at $18 a quarter currently.
Okay, 18 a quarter and
But if you're converting and you're writing your bid specs, the cart should just be part of the price. It's not a separate rental, it's just part of the service, yeah.
Included,
yeah,
yeah.
that makes
But when we can get rid of a helper on the back of a truck and the insurance risk, that helps to offset it. So it's not like, here's, you pay for the service, then we're gonna charge you so much a month to rent these carts. No, it's just part of the service.
If it's a cart contract, if it's part of the service, yes, the cart is included. But if it's a contract that's a 3-bag service and they want a cart and they want to rent it from us, or they can go out and purchase their own. But we recommend that they can rent it from us. That way, if anything happens to it, we do replace them free of charge. So yeah, we just rent the carts.
Hopefully that helps.
Did I answer your
That
question?
answered your question. I
Okay.
was wondering what the cost was to the resident.
Yes, but again, if it's a part of your bid specs that you're asking, like what, if they wanted to rent a cart, what it would be, then that can be a part of the bidding process too, and it may not be just, it could be less.
Greg, are they able to hear everything okay? Did you have any additional questions?
No,
Okay. Okay,
I think we're fine.
all right, Zoom, if you have more questions, let us know, Zoom.
But there are municipalities that have provided the recycling bins or sell them to the residents, and so residents are currently coming to your office to buy a bin. Well, when we provide the carts, that noise goes away in your office. That doesn't occur anymore. So we're converting West York Borough to carts currently. We're the low bidder, and they're flipping to cart service. So in their office, they have stacks of bins that people come by. That's going away. So it gets rid of some of that noise too.
So York Township actually did that with the recycling bins, and I'm going to tell you, we did it as a service to the residents, but, it ended up, I believe, being a little bit of disservice to us because it's the hard plastic, it's that hard blue plastic, and with the automation, I don't know what controls they have on the automated trucks, because obviously that's not, where my expertise is, but the automation, when they would pick up those recycling bins, it crushed them. Or they fall in, and then, they don't have the bins. So, I tell the residents, we have bins, we're very low at this point, so when we're out, we're not getting any more, we're not doing that again. But the residents need to know that if something happens to Republic or Penway's, toters, they're replaced at no cost.
Yes.
But if they're going out and getting their own and, something happens to them, they're not being replaced, they'll replace them with their own.
Yeah.
But I would not recommend the recycling containers for,
Having your
It's
own,
an old
like-
way of doing it,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Within our, this is from Zoom, within our contract, we allow the residents to put, whoop, hold on, just got an email, but we allow the residents to put one large item out per week. Are the residents required to call the hauler to make them aware of the large item, or can they just place it out?
We're asking municipalities to write in that residents should call us to schedule a bulk item. And the reason being is that I can tell you at my house, last year I put one bulk item out the whole year. So 1 week out of 52 weeks, I put a bulk item. And the majority of people, that's the case, a couple times a year. If you call us, now we can route a driver to come in there and go to the 12 homes in your municipality that have a large item out, and we're in and out within an hour. If it's not a requirement, we're gonna have to drive every road doing the Easter egg hunt, looking for this one toilet that somebody set beside the bush, beside that mailbox, and we might miss it. So that's why we're asking, it's to try to control costs, obviously, because if we can have that bulk driver go in and be in and out of your municipality in an hour, I can go to 5 or 6 others that day to pick up the scheduled bulk items.
Yeah.
So.
I think there's a question down here, yeah.
Well, just to add to that, so people know too, I don't know who their hauler is, but you had mentioned to me that we can also use the app to do so. And
Yeah,
I've gotten a good
especially
response with
for
that.
things like missed pickups, car, like there's a lot you can do on apps. And
Yeah.
I'm sure they have the same similar type of things, so.
Yeah.
I know people like using an app over picking up the
Right,
phone.
yeah.
So I've gotten good response when I said, you can either call or you can use the app,
Yeah.
and people have really liked doing that.
Yeah.
So that has worked.
But we've flipped all of our municipalities and it's been much better for our employees and, I mean, you just flipped in July. There's still some people that didn't read the mailers but,
I know.
yeah. But the majority of people, okay, because I hardly ever put a bulk item out, so I'll just call once a year when I have to, so.
Poor Deb, we're gonna sit you like not across.
The good thing is, when she walked in, the first thing I asked her was how her grandchild is. It wasn't about trash, right?
Right. Laura, did you say?
I just wanted to comment, at our township though, we handle our customer service, we're with Penn Waste, and so we do not require them to call in unless it has free on. So there is that too, I guess it depends on how you handle it. With our contract, we handle customer service and then reach out if we need to.
Right.
Also the challenge in York County. Some municipalities do the billing and do all the customer service.
Yeah.
Others, we do the billing, and customer service. Others, the municipality does the billing, but all the calls have to come through us. So it's a lot of confusion in this county. You go to Lancaster County, They do all the billing, they take all the calls, it's a whole different ballgame, so.
That was good. Okay, anything else? Okay, all right, so, where were we? Talked about the carts, limiting the amount of waste your residents may dispose of per week. So, even if you're not using a cart system, what does unlimited trash mean? We still have, I think, some. How easy is that to plan for? Go ahead.
It's not, I mean, I mean, you have 1 week, a customer can put out 10 bags, and then the next week they only put out 2, so it's really not a way to, and again, that goes to standardizing, making regular standard service levels, and get rid of the unlimited, because a lot of customers don't take advantage of the unlimited. I mean, they just put out 2 or 3 bags a week. So we don't have a lot of customers putting out 10 bags every week.
And that's why I encourage the municipal leaders to drive around the municipality and look. And if you have the unlimited, you drive around and see that 99% of people don't put out huge piles. You don't need the unlimited. Or the municipality has, it's gotta be a cart plus 4 bags. When I had this in North Cador's Township, and I drove around, looked at hundreds of homes, nobody had extra bags out. I'm like, well, you don't need to have that as language. You can say, it's 1 cart for trash. If you need an additional cart, you can get a second cart, but this cart plus bags kind of defeats the purpose of automating, because now you're still getting out and picking up bags, so. And when they drove around, they go, oh yeah, nobody's really putting out extra bags, so they went cart contents only and just cleaned up the bid specs, so.
Great, okay. Scheduling large item pickup, we just addressed that. Using a standard size bag for extra bag services, and that is as opposed to having to purchase a certain bag. In general, I know that y'all, don't want the bag services, you don't love those. But any comments on that? So I guess this would mean getting, just get a 42-gallon or whatever, 32-gallon trash bag from somewhere, as opposed to it has to be the purple one that you buy from the municipality, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's standard 32-gallon trash bag as opposed to the 64-gallon contractor size
Yes.
bag that all of a sudden somebody loads and you can't even lift it off.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, that's injuring the loader, that's loading the bag.
Yeah, okay. So setting moderate penalty amounts. This is another area that when I started looking at, our bid specs, it's really wide ranging. So that's another risk that you all have to take on, the number of different penalties that you could incur and the amount. So do you wanna speak to that at all?
Yeah, I certainly can. So generally, we don't get fined. Like the municipalities will have 3 pages of fines in there, but for the most part, we have good relationships and good partnerships. As long as you recover within a 24-hour period, you're usually okay. Those fines have always been there to protect the municipality in the event you have a hauler that just is horrible and doesn't pick up trash for a week or 2 or 3 weeks at a time. We saw that on the news last year in Lancaster County, some of the subscription areas where the hauler wasn't able to pick up trash for several weeks at a time. I'm sure we all saw it on Channel 8. It was that just doesn't happen in municipal contracts generally. So, but we've had municipalities in the past that have fined us because we didn't come on a snowy day, even though Interstate 83 was closed per the governor's orders. And they fined us because we didn't pick up the trash that day. So there is those things, but for the most part, the municipalities in this county are good partners to the haulers. We're also fortunate to have Republic and Penn Waste who are good reputable companies who give good service. So are there gonna be missed pickups? Of course there are. Things happen, but do you recover? Do you respond? That's the main thing, so.
Yeah, I'm hearing giving you a chance to, correct the situation before you slap the fine on, yeah. Okay, requiring waste and recycling collections by ordinance. So in this case, if you do make a contract with collectors, but you don't make it a rule or a law in your municipality, how does that affect you doing, bidding on a contract?
So let's say, for example, for Penn is when you make it's mandatory, there's a mandatory contract for all residents to participate in this service. It's good to have that ordinance worded the same to back that up. We kind of got away from it a little bit in regards to municipalities that we bill and trying to recover bad debt. But if it's written in that ordinance that it's a requirement, because some residents say, I don't use your service, or I barely use your service, so I'm not paying for it. So it kind of helps to have that wording in your ordinances as well, that it is mandatory for every dwelling unit within the municipality to participate in the trash and recycling service. It kind of helps with that.
There are some municipalities in York County that have a contracted hauler, like Paradise, but it's not mandatory, because there are a lot of farmers who are still allowed to burn in there, and I don't even think it's mandated by state law that they even have to have a contracted service. So they're doing it trying to keep,
No, it's
it
not,
is,
yeah.
yeah. So they're doing that, they're trying to keep their municipality clean and have an option. We're the only hauler that's allowed to be in there, but it's not everybody. So, you know, the only thing it can often do is it takes up pricing, because it's usually in the more rural municipalities where you're driving a lot of miles between stops as it is, and then when you know there's gonna be, you know, 20% of the municipality that doesn't participate, you kind of work that into your.
Yeah, yeah. And these are just guidelines. I mean, we know obviously that municipalities have to think of what the residents want as well. So, no, we're not putting this out like this is the, end all be all. But it just things to, that they would look at, you know, as far as bidding. Conducting the billing and collection for the municipality. And we just heard that everybody does it differently, but obviously, you know, that's gonna relieve some of the burden on you for collections, especially, right? So you wanna,
Yeah, I mean,
Speak to that.
if we're doing the billing, the thing we ask for is that we have the ability to put somebody on stop service. Because as soon as we don't pick up their trash, they're gonna call and say, why didn't you pick up? Well, you haven't paid us for 3 months, you need to pay. And then we get paid. It's kind of like if you do water or in your municipality, you turn off the water, they're gonna call you and pay. But because, or, you know, York County, it's always been this way. Well, we don't want you to stop picking them up, because then we're gonna have trash everywhere, we're gonna have illegal dumping, all this type of stuff. And so what they say, well, just take them to court. Well, the expense of that for a $100 bill that we're trying to collect, it's almost not worth it. But as soon as we put them on stop service, they're calling us, my trash didn't get picked up. And they pay, and then we're back to picking them up, so.
You would think that Andy and I talked a little bit before we came in here, because all my notes here, he's like touching on the point. But thank you. Since I'm new to this role, you kind of helped me out a little bit.
Well, it's the industry. I mean, this isn't a Republic thing or a Penn Waste thing. It's the industry. So when I go to, like, I'm going to Municipal Convention in New Jersey next week. Well, there's a lot of haulers there. They're all talking about the same type of issues, so.
all right, thank you. All right, so that brings us kind of to the end of the guide. Some of the things I may have just summarized a little bit. Is there anything else that you all wanted to talk about? Things that you look for in bid packages?
I would actually second what Lisa said in regards to how well you did a good job in putting that together in this, you know, on the time, what we're looking for in this. So.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, how long have you been in this role?
6 years?
Right, so in the last 6 years, believe it or not, the mentality of our municipalities in York County about some of these changes has completely flipped because of the work Mindy's done. When you're hearing it from me or Andrea, well, that's the hauler. But when the county's talking, the waste authority's talking about it, it certainly helped. Like, it used to be the price increase things. Nope, we want the same price for the whole contract. Well, let us bid the price each year. Then you can budget, you know what it's gonna be, but it allows us to have a little bit of increase each year because our costs of doing business go up every year. And the old way of, well, you have to have a firm price for the whole 5 years. All that did was jack up the rates in year one, so we were covered. So the work you've done has certainly helped a lot of municipalities within this county get better, more competitive bids.
Remember this in my employer. Thank you, Okay, so I think we are now at, so I have a couple of resources to mention, but we wanted to invite some of our other staff members, as I had talked about Terry earlier. Terry's gonna come up and talk about disaster debris, and then I'll introduce them. You want me to, yeah, I know, sorry. I could always go through your slides for you, if you'd rather, so we don't have to deal with the clicker. All right, here, I'm gonna let you sit down, you do your thing. All right. Oh. She has many hats. You just stop screen sharing. If you want to do yours, it's on the desktop. Yeah, on the desktop. Oh, that's weird. All right, can we go into my email? Because I can just pull it from there. Maybe pull Doug's though. Yeah, I have Doug's in my email, I believe. All right. Oh,
In the meantime, oh, Amy just stepped out. Another question.
Go for it.
Well, I guess I
Oh, for
guess,
the haulers? Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Are the municipalities able to receive a listing of all the residents that are delinquent on their trash bills?
Yes, Penn Waste can provide that.
If you say that a little bit louder, so they.
Yes, Penn Waste can provide that, yeah.
I will ask Andy when he comes back in the room here.
We have reached out to some of our exclusive municipalities to ask if we can, a lot of our mandatory contracts have pretty much told us, no, we cannot suspend service. But the exclusive contracts, we have a few that is allowing us to do that, to recover. And basically what they've been requesting is just a list of those customers so that they know if they were to get these phone calls, will know that, you know, any complaints because their trash sitting out. So they have access just to provide a list of those customers that we are, you know, suspending service for. But again, these are customers that at least 3 or 4 quarters past due, you know, that has not paid 1, 2 quarters. But these are customers that are extremely past due that we're now taking this opportunity to try to recover from. Andy, Greg has a question.
So, Andy, are the municipalities able to receive a listing of all the residents that are delinquent on their trash bills?
Yes. Only because my collections people are on me all the time about it, so I know there's a list. So.
All right, now I see it there.
Cindy, I have a question, just for the municipalities with the required service.
Mhm.
How do you folks handle that with apartments? Do you do it per apartment building or per unit in the department? Does anybody have a standardized way of doing it that they charge for apartment units? Or is it a case by case basis?
I'm seeing somewhere if there are units like 6 or more, they consider that maybe under commercial, like a commercial dwelling unit. I'm not sure like if it's like a 4 apartment, you know, building, if you would count all 4 units to have to pay for service. There are some municipalities that have seen that, but again, I guess it's up to the municipality how you would like to do that.
I think it's different for Hanover Borough or York City where you have more of those types of facilities, but we have some like Spring Grove Borough that has several apartment complexes within the borough. They bill them for service. We just put dumpsters there instead of individually picking up at each apartment. But usually it's the ordinance of the municipality. However many units qualify as residential versus commercial. So.
That is on there.
Yes.
Okay.
It's being shared.
So it is being shared. We can't slide it. We can't do everything in one stuff. Oh wait, we can't. Can I fix it? I don't know. No.
Yes.
Does it go in your?
Yes.
Ah, perfect. So will it do it up here then? Did it do it up here? It does. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now it's the Terry show.
All right, so my name is Terry Beck. I talk more with the haulers than I do with the municipalities. I deal with hauler registration, shred destruction, some residual waste things, but another hat I wear is I'm our disaster debris unit leader. So I wanted to just kind of briefly go over disaster debris management planning because that is the responsibilities of the municipality. And it's not something people really plan for until there's actually like a natural disaster where there is disaster debris. And I kind of wanted to go over the resources that we have available to you guys to, help you create your own plans. So disaster debris management, municipalities really should locate and secure disaster debris management sites prior to the occurrence of any disaster debris generating event. Also, there needs to be, they need to secure and maintain pre-disaster debris management contracts with waste recycling haulers, equipment, suppliers, etc., prior to the occurrence of a disaster debris generating event. And all this information should be compiled into a formal plan. I know there's sometimes municipalities don't have a separate disaster debris plan. It might be part of an overall emergency management plan. But either way, there should be a section for this type of stuff. So kind of how it's set up with disaster debris management. Your county municipalities are the primary agency. This really comes down to you guys. And York County Solid Waste Authority, the York County Office of Emergency Management, PEMA, DEP, EPA, FEMA, we're really the supporting agencies. So we're here to help and assist, but it really comes down to each municipality.
Could you back up?
Yes.
I saw something where, the next one, where it says, maintain a management contract with your waste and recycling haulers. That's really like a separate emergency services contract. Don't tie that into your municipal residential contract. Like if you say that we're responsible for disaster cleanup, well, what the heck does that really mean? And what are we gonna have to build into our pricing that all your residents are gonna pay for in the event that you have a flood or something? So there are separate emergency response contracts you can get with haulers or special waste type companies. I think that was, I just want to make sure we don't think, well, let's put that in our municipal contract. That'll cover us. Means your residents will pay a lot more.
Thank you, that's great. Okay, so how it's kind of set up now is every fall, like, York County Office of Emergency Management sends out the York County Disaster Debris Management Framework. This is what it looks like. I believe they've already sent it out this fall. I've saw the email. And this framework basically details the municipal and county disaster debris management responsibilities. They will also send out an Excel spreadsheet that looks like this. That's the York County Disaster Debris Management Contact List. It's about 15 pages of local equipment, hauling, recycling, salvage, and waste management companies' contacts. So any waste streams that, need management, there should be tabs. There's recycling outlets. There's all sorts of stuff in there. It's a bed of knowledge there. And we update this every fall. So we go through it, make sure everything's, updated, and then we add to it and other outlets have come up. So, and that goes out with the framework. Another resource for you guys is the York County Hazard Mitigation Plan. This document describes the process for identifying York County natural and human-made hazards, creates a risk assessment and vulnerability analysis, and identifies mitigation strategies. This is updated every 5 years by the York County Planning Commission. And I believe the 2024 plan is going to be adopted November 20th. It's available on their website, but it's not formal yet. It should be in the next couple of weeks here. Another resource is the EPA's most current planning for a natural disaster debris guide. It recommends components of the debris management plan, suggests management options. It includes federal, state, and local resources to consult in planning for natural disasters. This is another tool. This is kind of recent, it's been about 2 years now, I guess, the EPA's tool. So this is the EPA's all hazardous waste management planning tool. If you don't have a document, this is a great tool. You basically just create your own account, and it has about 10 different sections where you can list contracts, roles, helps you if you need to do any chemical analysis in there, if you need to kind of get an estimate for how much material you might have. It's very comprehensive. And it really helps assist emergency managers and planners in creating or updating a comprehensive plan for managing materials and waste generated from man-made and natural disasters.
I have a question. Are all the municipalities covered under some sort of county environmental or emergency management contract? Okay,
No,
Cause I've talked to municipalities about emergency service contracts
Yeah.
through our environmental services side of our business. Oh no, we're covering the county.
yeah,
So I didn't know,
yeah, that seems to be the kind of disconnect we've been having.
okay,
But, I know York County Office of Emergency Management, I know they were looking into a couple years developing a countywide plan for disaster debris specifically. But that director has then since left. So I've asked Bill James, who's my contact at the York County Office of Emergency Management. I've asked him how that's kind of going, and it's so far, there's no countywide plan, at least that I'm aware of. Yeah.
I agree.
Thanks for bringing that up, Andy. And it is a common misconception. And there used to be, like, the name of what we were offering was a county plan. But what the plan said is that municipalities must make a plan.
right, yeah.
So we've done away with that wording, but it still is, it's a legacy thing that is very confusing. So the more you can put that information out or direct them back to us if they're confused, well,
Cause,
yeah.
'cause we all know, like, what happened in East Palestine, Ohio, a year and a half ago. Like, that was a crazy incident. We have train tracks all through this county, and oftentimes some of those trains are probably hauling similar materials that spilled out there, so.
Yeah.
What happens in that case? You hope that the train company has, like, the coverage to take care of that, but what if they don't, and what if you have nobody to call, so. So it's definitely something to look into, cause that was a learning experience, I think, for a lot of people when that happened.
Absolutely, yeah, the incidents like that and just natural disasters are just, more and more common and increased level in our area. I
Even
feel
in
like.
places where you don't think it happens, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry, Terry.
No, you're great, it was great, thank you. And then, the other resource is, FEMA's, Public Assistance Debris Monitoring Guide. And that kind of goes through, what FEMA has for public assistance applicants. Also has guidance on monitoring debris removal operations, details public assistance eligibility requirements associated with debris monitoring programs. And also includes sample debris monitoring plans and forms. So that's very helpful. So again, you guys have about 5 options for, creating your own disaster debris plan. So it's got the framework and contact list that goes out every fall, the York County Hazard Mitigation Plan, the EPA's planning for disaster debris guide, the EPA's all hazardous waste management planning tool, and FEMA's public assistance debris monitoring guide, and all of those are great resources. And if anybody has any questions or needs some support in creating your own plan, that's me and that's my email address. So yeah, just let me know if you need me.
Yeah, and I will include Terry's contact information as well when I follow up after the meeting with forms and such, so.
Are you able to share these slides as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, usually I think we've done it, a link on the website before, and then I just
Yeah.
send you the link,
I
but
checked-
we'll make sure you get it.
I checked our website and I didn't see it on there anymore, so.
Okay. I'll make sure that I have it available to everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, I think through, sorry,
No, go ahead.
through your county OEM, Office of Emergency Management, we pretty much know there's not a lot of municipalities, or next to none, have really addressed this issue locally. So I would encourage you guys to go back, talk to your municipal managers, and just start the conversation. There's a lot of resources out there. You can, give our name to just have a meeting, just to start a conversation. We'll see where it goes. But it is municipality's responsibility.
We're just gonna go ahead and pull up the next set of slides, and at this time, I wanted to introduce to you Doug Jazik, who is our manager here of engineering and operations, and he's gonna talk to us about some new plans that we have here.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna just get the clicker over
Technical
here, Doug.
difficulties.
Great.
Hi, thank you very much for having me. So what I want to bring up about is we're looking at putting a transfer station on our property over here. So the authority's in the process of getting permit approvals with DEP for the siting of a transfer station on our permitted area of the Resource Recovery Center. And the facility is going to be known as the Black Ridge Road Transfer Station. And so simultaneously, as we're going through the permitting process, we're going through the design engineering right now. And now the question is why? Why are we building a transfer station on site? And so the transfer station at the Resource Recovery Center would allow greater flexibility to efficiently manage incoming materials and allow residents and businesses to conveniently drop off all types of waste at one centralized location. Another benefit to having a transfer station would be enable the Solid Waste Authority to continue accepting waste from York County residents and businesses in the event waste deliveries exceed the Resource Recovery Center's processing storage capacity, which could be due to county growth or some operational issues. And again, one of the other things that really prompting us is, you know, modern landfill accepts all the York County's waste that cannot be accepted at the Resource Recovery Center, you know, including non-combustible waste, construction and demolition debris. And so, you know, capacity at modern landfills filling up. And in the event that modern closes, that non-combustible materials and construction demolition waste are currently, can be currently disposed of at the transfer station where, and this eliminates residents and businesses having to travel outside the county for disposal of that material. In the case that modern landfill continues to remain open, we see the transfer station still be an asset to York County residents and businesses as we are a convenient and centralized location to bring all of that type of waste here, whether it be, you know, processable waste or non-processable waste. So that was the really reason that prompted us into this.
Lost signal.
We lost signal.
I think Terry.
Sorry.
Oh, good, they're still there, okay. Maybe it's coming back. See it on their screen. What happened? Sometimes it loses.
I didn't touch anything.
No, we'll lose signal in this room sometimes and that it just sort of resets itself.
TV didn't like hearing the modern landfill.
I know.
Well, as long
We
as I
own
think
that.
everyone's still able to see. Yeah, sorry for the,
Doug, were you, excuse me, near the end of your slides? Excuse me.
No. That was the first one, and there's not too many slides. But,
All right.
and I can just go through the talking points.
Give it a minute here.
Yeah. As we said, Terry has many hats, the other one is IT.
Yeah.
All other duties as a sign.
While we're waiting.
Yeah, sure.
In addition to the items you said that go to modern landfill currently, also the ash goes. Right?
Correct, some of it does, yes. Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
People don't realize that. A lot of people in York County don't even realize all their municipal solid waste goes to an incinerator.
Well,
They think it's goes to the landfill, and
Yeah.
that's just not the case.
and years ago, when I started doing this meeting, I did offer tours of the Resource Recovery Center, but people who had, you know, already seen it continued to be municipal leaders and still come, but we do have new folks now. I just want to say that even though we're not set up to do that today, if you ever want a tour of the Resource Recovery Center, it's a great tour and I can set that up for you. And maybe I'll offer that next year. I see someone has Nani in the back. Yeah. Yeah, cool, good. All right, we'll set that up.
Greg, do you see that on your screen?
Well, I haven't shared it yet.
Okay, oh, you didn't share it, okay.
Can you see that?
Yes.
Go. It takes about like, that's try, it's like, wants to. So to keep like hard to get. No? You're clicking?
Okay, there you go.
Yes.
All right, so yeah, just real quickly, so just what a transfer station is, so, transfer station, we build a building, and I'll show you a little bit more, but this is just an example of one where you have a building, that doesn't work.
Let me see if I can do it with the mouse pad.
Okay. Well, let me just point. So this is where the small trucks would come in here at typically at a higher elevation, and then a lower elevation, that's where you bring transfer trailers and again, take small trucks, load them into big trucks, make more efficiency, and you ship it out. So again, just an example of
I'm sorry, Terry.
I think you need to stay here.
It's neat. Very neat system today. Doesn't want me to leave.
No, just stay right there. I'm just good. Next slide.
I tried this.
Or did it? Back out again. Again, these are just additional pictures. I just want just a typical transfer station, like a typical tipping floor, like we have at our resource recovery center. But on the right-hand side, you'll see there's a hole there. That's where the larger transfer trailer would come underneath. The garbage would be pushed into there and then sent off. And here's just a picture of it's called a telehandler. Not too far. That could help pack the trucks in there. And again, this is a picture of maybe familiar with Harrisburg's facility where they have a hole in the floor where it's pushed into the transfer trailer, and then on the right-hand side there's a transfer trailer in the tunnel to get out. So that's just the basic what a transfer station is all about. So in our case here, this is our facility, our campus as we call it. From my end, just in case. Look at that. I was thinking ahead of time. I was being prepared.
Good job.
So the red line that you see, the dash line, that's Blackbridge Road. We're located right over here. That's our office building. So across the street is our plant. There's our scale house right here, and we're looking at putting it in this area right here is the transfer station. So our blue line just represents our property line. Our orange line represents our permitted boundaries there. So there's permit boundaries on this side and the other side of Blackbridge Road. And so again, within our blue lines there, we again have a resource recovery center, our small load drop off, our yard waste area, our e-waste program area. So it just gives you an idea of where we're looking at placing that. So currently we're permitted to allow 4,000 tons per day in our facility. So we're not looking to increase that at all. We can, we typically have around 1,740 tons per day come in during a typical weekday on average. And so, we don't expect to go over that 4,000 ton limit. And, if modern were to go away, just in York County waste, we're expecting, 200 to 300 tons a day to come in here. So our hours of operation would still be the same as they currently are now. Use this one. And just some of the just particulars about this. So as you can see, this is the area, again, we're looking at putting our transfer station. It'd be 140 by 160, approximately 50 foot high. The design capacity is 2,750 tons per day. And we will have to do some rearranging of our roadways to be able to accommodate this. So that's just a quick overview. Right now, scheduling, we're in the permitting process. I'm hoping by the first quarter of 2025 to get a permit from DEP. We'll see first or second quarter. By the second quarter of 2025, we're looking at going out to bid and start construction. And then by the second quarter of 2026 is to have this completed. So that's kind of our timeline that we're dealing with right now. So it's a quick overview of what we're up to. I don't know if there's any questions on that. I'd be glad to answer them.
What is the final destination there? Will it vary?
It's a big question.
Yeah. And it would be, it would be a local landfill then, and I'm just saying, I don't know which one it would be, we'd have to probably go, I think Greg, in the, process looking with our plan, looking at which facilities would take it, but I'm just saying the closest one away is probably Cumberland County landfill, which is 60 miles away. So for residents to go do that, that's gonna be, challenging, or, so.
We just have a disposal capacity issue in the state and the whole northeast part of the country. Landfills are running out of space. They're not getting permits for
Yep.
expansions or to build new ones. And so then what happens is you start building transfer stations, some cases like this where they can haul it to another landfill, or my counterparts in Massachusetts put a transfer station which gets on a rail car and then goes by train to a state further south in Pennsylvania. So it's a challenge. And in Pennsylvania, well, we have 6 incinerators that are all over 30 years old. We think that's such a normal thing because we have 3 of them within a 10-mile radius here between Lancaster, Harrisburg, and York, but it's not normal in the state. You out west, there's no incinerators out in the western parts. So we're facing challenges in industry here too, because if modern landfill doesn't get an expansion group and closes, whatever ash currently goes there also has to now get shipped somewhere else. So it's gonna impact everybody in this county, not just the residents of the township where that landfill is, because costs will go up if the ash has to go further away than there.
Transportation.
Yep, we're actually working on an RFP now to put out the landfills, and that's probably gonna hit the street hopefully in December. And then, we'll see there, Republic will receive it, Waste Management, all different landfills within hours of here. And they can propose pricing and their terms, and we'll see what we get. So we've been working on that.
That pricing would be independent then of the incinerator?
Correct, that's totally different, yeah.
And when is this looking to be done?
We're looking at, maybe by the second half of, 2026,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I have a question on, because I've had people ask me this, and I've heard things, when however many tons come into an incinerator, how many tons come out as ash? Is it a pretty like, for every 3 tons that come in, a ton comes out as ash? Or?
Well, we say, from a volumetric standpoint, it's a 90% reduction, so, 10 trucks that come in, we have 1 truck that leaves as ash. And then just, to talk about, right behind us, we have our ash recycling facility located on our campus. So from there, we're taking our ash and we're actually able to, extract metals, other commodities, and we're able to recycle about 55% of that ash is not having to go to a landfill, so. And we're constantly looking what else the next, with the higher level use of that material, so constantly looking at that.
We're fortunate to have a waste authority in our county because it's not only for thinking ahead like that, but for household hazardous waste drop-offs, for e-waste drop-offs. There's other parts of the country that have nothing like this. And so residents have no place to go with this stuff. Like, yes, it's a pain to tell your residents, we'll take it up here to drop off the TV, but it's at least within their county and they can do that, so.
And the quick now, trash and waste isn't just trash, it's a resource now, you look at how to use it.
Yeah. So. Any other questions for Doug?
I have a degree in music, by the way.
Thank you so much. Harry, I hate to ask, but here, you can get the next
And you just
slide.
stay there.
Okay. So the end of our presentation here, is just, I'm gonna go through a couple of resources. Look at things on our website and different resources that you can, that can help you with your job. Alright, I'm gonna go way through here. I'm good. Don't leave me, Terry, don't leave me. Oh, that's fine. Okay, some resources from the Solid Waste Authority here. So a couple of years ago, we started an event recycling and waste bin loan program. This is what they look like. So folks that are having an event, it could be a public or a private event, that don't necessarily have, 10 trash cans and 10 recycle bins to put out at your event. We now have these, they're called clear stream units. So they're heavy duty frames that open up, and then we actually give you the bags as well that are labeled trash or recycling. We have signage to help, instruct people which bin is which and what goes in the bins. These are available first come, first serve, no fee. Please, if you're able to offer this, put it on your website or put it in your newsletters and let folks know. They can contact me anytime for borrowing these bins. This does not include the service of disposing of waste and recycling the materials. This is only the bins, but it is a resource available. I think I went through all of that information. I also have a guide that goes with it that helps people who are organizing community events know some of the best tips for recycling and waste management. We can help you in person or virtually with your bid packages, your ordinances, the annual municipal recycling report, your grant applications, websites and education in general for recycling, and disaster debris planning. So please reach out to us anytime for assistance. We actually have a new spot on our website just for municipalities. So it's under resources for municipalities, and we list things on there. This is probably where I will put forms and our PowerPoint from today, so you can reference back to that.
I have a question on that.
Yeah.
On your billboards all across the county, I see it says, talk trash to us.
Yes.
Are you getting responses on that, and what type of info?
We are. That has been open now for almost a year, hard to believe. It was put together by our community services division here, and we are getting lots of responses. I haven't seen any type of final report at this point. We're hearing from folks that they want more options for lots of different things. Like could be HHW, or household hazardous waste, could be recycling, could be they think we're their hauler and they have questions for us. In any case, we will have a final report and be learning a lot more. But yes, it's still open. So if you're able to, promote that over the next month to your residents, we'd love to hear from everybody. You as well, all of you sitting at this table. Okay. And that's on the homepage of our website. You can find the link to that. This is a guide that I put together for businesses and institutions about recycling and how to improve it or how to start a recycling program. And I offer my assistance as well in that. I usually ask you, I will give this to you, copies of it or links to it. And if you could please distribute it to your businesses when you reach out to them about the recycling data that you're gathering. I think that's a great opportunity for you to say, hey, and by the way, if you want to help our community recycle better, here's some advice and resources. And I can even help you in your own office if you'd like to see how that all works. We also have a disposal search tool that you can get to from the homepage as well. We recently, last year, redid our website. So now you can use the regular search button, or in the middle of the page, there is, it says something about what do you want or how to dispose of. And when you type any word in there, there should be answers about either reusing, recycling, waste disposal, whether it be here or at the landfill. So you should get information. If you ever type something in there and you don't get an answer, that means I didn't put it in as a keyword or not, so let me know, because I'm always looking to expand that, but it's behind the scenes search engine tool that we have for folks in the county. Okay, and there are also other links to our website that you can share with your residents on your website or in your news letters. The search tool, we have residential curbside and drop off recycling information, electronics recycling information, household hazardous waste information. And by the way, that is something that I usually send out to you when we're ready to do an HHW event. We're actually going to do 2 this year. For the first time in a very long time. We do one in May and we're gonna do one, we think, in October as well. And for yard waste material management and lots of other information as well. You can follow us on all different types of social media. Like I say, Community Services Division takes care of communicating in a lot of different ways here. So we're in all the different places. And we also have, you can sign up for email updates on our website. We also have a mentorship program. So some of my more experienced folks in municipal recycling have agreed to mentor folks that are new, because there's sometimes things that I can't answer for you because it only gets done in a municipal way, not from a county way. Lisa has received help and given help, I know, as a recycling coordinator. So if you're interested in having a mentor, or if you're interested in being a mentor, please let me know. I can facilitate that. The Professional Recyclers of Pennsylvania. I cannot say enough about this group and how really vital they have been in helping me in my job. And I'm seeing a lot of expansion in prop in the municipal area. There's a lot more municipal members than we've had in the past. Andy's a member as well and goes to our conferences. We give a lot of training. Some of it's virtual, some of it's in person. You can get certified as a recycling professional through PROP. We have a great conference every July. If you would like more information, please let me know. And that brings us to, I think, the end of our meeting today, except if you have any other questions. Think of anything else that you want to?
I don't have a
talk
question,
about?
but I have one other comment. We briefly went over batteries at one point, but really didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
These rechargeable batteries are a humongous issue for us. It's why Penn Waste had a fire at their recycling center 3 years ago. It's why daily across the country we have truck fires, because people think, oh, I can just throw this in there. It gets compacted, catches fire, and they burn so hot. So you've probably seen that in the news where between Penn Waste and the Republic over the last year, we have truck fires that happen. We're going to a parking lot at Walmart, dumping trash to try to get it off of the truck. Because again, it takes 18 months to get a new truck that costs $430,000. And even if insurance covers it, we're still left without a truck for 18 months. So we're trying to communicate as much as possible to our municipalities and our residents. Do not put these batteries in your trash and recycle. Like, take them to Home Depot, Lowe's, there's callrecycle.org or whatever on the
Yeah,
website.
if you
places
type in
that
batteries
send-
on our website, you'll get a whole list of places that you can take them. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you for adding that, Andy. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah.
Just something that came up last 2 or 3 months. Staples in Hanover now takes stereos,
Yeah.
electronics and that type of thing. And they just started doing that within the last 2 months or so. Just throw that out. And the other thing, just out of curiosity, I mean, we just sat through 2 hours of things about recycling and that type of thing. What amount of the recycling that is put into all these different centers actually gets used on an end product and not eventually weaves its way around and finds itself into a landfill again?
Or an incinerator.
Or the incinerator.
I mean, you can speak to your facilities local, because that probably impacts most people here.
So, Alpha, so we've been getting pretty good at identifying a lot of the contaminated recycling and notifying the municipalities of that to, try to get that cleaned up. But we have definitely markets with the recycling that we are now accepting. We have markets that we're able to sell to of that material. So is that we're getting repurposed and resold to make new products. So I would definitely also, how Mindy has stated, being able to tour the incinerator. We also offer tours at the recycle center as well, so you can see how the material is being processed too.
But there's definitely a percentage, Tony, that gets into the recycling center that comes out the back end as trash. Because there's a lot of wishful recycling that goes on. It's not residents trying to be a jerk. They think they're doing the best they possibly can. So they put in this plastic and metal stapler thinking, well, it's plastic metal, it's recyclable. Not really curbside, not at our recycling center. So I don't know the percentage of theirs, but I know at some of ours, it could be 10 to 15% contamination that gets, the back end goes into trash. But the actual stuff that's recyclable, plastics, metal, that's getting recycled. Oftentimes in this country, it's downcycled. A lot of plastic gets made into carpet like this. I know we started polymer centers, so we're gonna take the plastic bottles, break it into flake, so we can mix it with new resin and make new bottles out, the same thing over and over. So there's a lot of stuff happening in this country when it pertains to recycling in response to China's sword, which now happened 7 years ago. But it's taken time, but there's new places opening up that are gonna accept more of this stuff. So hopefully we can come back to municipalities and say, remember these plastics we said you can't recycle more? Let's add them back in. Like there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
So.
And for those of you who are new to this position, but what Andy's talking about, China sword, is that in 2018, China stopped accepting bales of material to be made, recycled material to be made into new things that were above a very small contamination rate. So a lot of material recovery facilities lost their markets because they weren't able to meet that rate. It was extremely low, but.
And then they just cut it off altogether.
Right, yeah.
So at that point, I think about 40% of the recycling in the United States ended up going to China. And so overnight, when that flipped, all of a sudden we didn't have an outlet. And I know at that point, Penn Waste had bales and bales of paper sitting outside, which were getting wet and infested with rats, that there was no place to go with it. So that's when haulers came to municipalities and said, that junk mail and magazines, we need to stop taking it at the curbside because we don't have outlets.
Yeah.
Some of that is flipped, and now we're able to take some of that stuff again, but for the new people, there was a serious crisis about 6 to 7 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Lance corrected me, I misspoke. It's not Staples, it's Goodwill in Hanover.
Okay.
Goodwill throughout the state, there's not every store, but there's certain stores in certain areas now that take electronics. Sorry about that.
Absolutely. Yep, all the Goodwills in York County and a lot of them in the outlying counties around here do it, but it's sort of a region. But you're absolutely right. They take electronics, and what they aren't able to remarket and sell in their stores, they're recycling. And Staples also does take certain things. They just may not take everything that we would take or Goodwill would take as well. Yeah.
Because that law went into effect at least 10 years ago.
Oh, it was
We weren't allowed to
20.
take covered.
Oh, that was 2010.
I want to
Right,
say 2010, yeah,
It
yeah.
And
hasn't changed. A
It's
lot of,
14 years, but residents still don't know that they can't put a TV out for their pickup. Like, it's pretty amazing.
They're wishing that too. Yeah, good.
I just want to say thank you for hosting this meeting. I am new in my position, 6 months, and Sapphire couple weeks.
Yes.
So this was very informative. I learned a lot. Thank you for all of your information. You'll be hearing from us.
Yeah, I don't try to talk too much. It's just that
Thank you.
I've been doing this for almost 20 years and then the municipal part for about almost 8 years now. So it's what I do every day. I can't help myself just talk trash.
Yeah, and thank you for
We're
saying
gonna
that.
take you up on your offer.
For the tour?
To the tour,
Yeah.
assistance, contract.
Good, excellent, that's what we want.
Grant writing, like it's all,
Yeah.
especially for us, the
It's great.
city.
It was a great experience. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. And thank you, hauling companies, for being here. We really appreciate your participation today. It's so helpful to hear from you about, what's going on out there in the hauling world. Thank you to my colleagues, my fellow staff members here for your presentations today, and all of you for being here.
And you on Zoom as well. We're gonna wrap up now, so thanks again, Zoomers. I will be sending out documents and information and links to the PowerPoint. For you, we have lunch. So, yeah. I believe, let me just check, make sure everything's set up. I'll be right back. Yep, all good. We have Jersey Mike's out here. They're individual, containers with sandwiches and chips and cookie, I think, and then drinks as well. I'm not sure if we're coming in here for drinks, but I'll figure it out. So, yeah. Yeah.